welcome back to my channel. Today I have, not sure what I titled this, but I have a list of things that we have more of now and a list of things that we have less of since I was making minimalism videos about 5 years ago. So I would not say that our family has changed and I didn't decide to like ditch minimalism or anything. My change in not talking about it a whole bunch, even on my Instagram, and changing my Instagram just to my name, Stephanie Rudis, was simply because I felt like minimalism was everywhere. It became such a trend that everybody was decluttering, everybody was talking about minimalism, and I think I wanted to show on my Instagram more of what life just looks like that way versus the how-tos of all of these declutterings and the tips and tricks and the convincing people of why. Rather than going that route, I just wanted to be like, this is what life looks like for our family, living as what many people would call minimalists. Rather than, again, like the how-to side of that. But we are still in all, areas pretty simple. But there are areas that we now have more of things than we did 5+ years ago. And then there are areas that we have less. And it's funny to look back on those videos and be like, wow, I don't have that much of that anymore. And I think that's natural as you as people change. I wouldn't say that Jason and I have changed that much, but certainly our kids have and our family has. We have added a 5th child. And in 5 years, kids grow up and they change a lot. And even when I was making videos on minimalism back then and talking about kids' toys and kids' rooms, I know that one of the things I shared and I believed all along was that as my kids grew older, I wanted to increase the amount of freedom that they had for self-expression in their rooms and the amount of freedom they had for how many of things they wanted. And if something was important to them to collect, I wasn't going to beat them over the head with minimalism. Minimalism is it just makes sense for our family. We love to travel, we love experiences, we definitely live on a budget. And so for Jason and I, that aren't big stuff people to begin with, not that I don't like stuff, but that's not a huge thing for me anyway. This is a natural expression of who we are and the way we value things and the way we want to live. But it is not something that our kids have to ever adopt, take to, want, implement in their homes. If I could impart one thing to my kids, if they could take one thing from growing up with us, I hope it's not minimalism. I hope it's a love for Jesus and an understanding of his love for them. So all that to say, let's get to my list. I have 5 things that we have more of and 5 things that we have less of. And yes, there are probably more categories for both, but these 5 in each subject just stood out to me right away as I watched old videos and as I just thought about our house. So let's get right to it. I'll go one more, one less, one more, one less throughout the video. Okay, the first one is books. We definitely have more books. I would say our picture book type collection, like small children books, it's probably about the same as it was when my 3 big boys, who are now 9, 8, and almost 8, were little. But because they are now big boys, all reading chapter books, and then I still have a 5-year-old girl and an almost 3-year-old boy, we still have the picture books. And now we have chapter books. So we definitely have more books. We don't have more books for myself. I've stuck to really enjoying audiobooks through the Hoopla app with our library where I can get audiobooks for free, and then borrowing books from the library on occasion and then returning them. I really rarely buy books. Our church library also has a lot of great books, and so those aren't things that I need to keep. Jason has an office at church now. We used to have a small office where all of his books were on theology and Christian living and that kind of stuff in our old house. In this house, there isn't that, but obviously now that he works at a physical church and the church is not in an elementary school, being a church plant, he has that office for all of those books, and I couldn't say whether he has more or less. That's totally his area. Okay, thing that we have less of now, clothes. The boys all have less clothes. I could buy them, doesn't matter how many clothes. They will pick 2 to 3 favorites and wear those over and over again. Currently, most of that is their favorite football team attire. Even my daughter, who I thought it would be really crazy having a lot of clothes for a little girl, and I was ready to indulge that, she has 2 dresses, and she doesn't want any more dresses for Sunday. She's not on a dress kick right now. She does love her shoes, but none of my kids have very many clothes. I think in one of my videos, I said that the boys back then would have 2 to 3 Sunday outfits, like church shirts. Now all the boys have 1, and Lucy has 2 dresses to choose from. I have less clothes, and I would say Jason's is probably about the same. Next, we have more of stuff in our kids' rooms. I look back on the videos of our cute little nursery and of Martin and George's little sports room, and I'm like, oh, so peaceful, it's so cute, it's so sweet. And it was, and they were good with that, and that was enough for them at the time. But they now like to express themselves through their rooms, and they've got football posters, and they've got things about fishing, and they've got helmets hung up, and their room now doesn't look minimal at all, and that's totally fine. And Lucy's room with Hayden, they put what they want on their wall. At one point, she had an entire wall covered in pictures that she drew, like the entire wall, like from the bottom to the top. So it's not that there's a lot more actual physical, like it's not overflowing with toys still in either room, but their self-expression and what they desire to have on their walls and the decor that they want is definitely a lot more. There's a lot more stuffed animals in their room. So there's definitely a lot more of that. And that is something that I have let go of, and it has been good. Less of that. More of that, excuse me. And then less, okay, back on the less. There is less decor in our house. So this house is, I think, about 150, 200 square feet less than our last house. But, just because you know the square footage of a house, how that's played out really changes how much decor and stuff you have. So the kitchen here is probably half the size of the kitchen that I had in our old house. And so I don't have decor on the counters because there's not a lot of counters and it's just a small space. So it feels cluttered fast to me. We don't have a mantle, like we don't have a fireplace. So I don't have things on a fireplace anymore. We have literally one little shelf with books, and I have one flower vase on that. So there's less decor. There's also not a hallway where I used to keep like some pretty things on the wall in the hallway, like kids' pictures and stuff. We really don't have hallways here. There's like a tiny one where there's a bathroom door, 3 bedroom doors. So there's less decor. So I will do a house tour at some point and kind of point out these areas so you can get a visual as well. But I have a house tour on Instagram. If you follow me there, you can see all of this, or you've already seen all of this. We definitely have less decor, and I don't miss any of it. We have more tools. So again, this has to do with kids changing. Our boys all love to build things. They built tables and stools and tried to build a raft. And so there are more hammers. There is a giant wood pile of wood that they like to just hammer nails into for practice. There's just more of that. We have a nice size shed that got built since we've been here in our backyard, and the boys have a little landscaping business, Wolfpack Landscaping, where they go around and mow yards and weed eat and that kind of stuff for people. We have like 4 lawnmowers right now. So there's definitely more of that kind of stuff than there was before. I have less kitchen stuff. Even from my kitchen tour that was of this kitchen that we're in on this channel before I stopped making videos, I look at that and there was a lot more kitchen stuff than I have now. We've simplified even more, and I haven't missed any of that stuff. And it also has worked well because, again, our kitchen is not large, but it's great. I'm not complaining. It's just not large. And that's where the food is all stored. I don't have another pantry. It's also where all of my homeschool supplies is stored, is in the cabinet that's kind of in the dining room / kitchen. It's all one room. We have more activities. So this is not a physical something, but I do think it's definitely worth mentioning because minimalism can kind of morph out of just being stuff, and also your schedule, your finances and stuff. With older kids, and we love our sports in this house, we have more activities. The boys all just finished baseball, and Lucy had a little fundamentals cheer / gymnastics thing she was in. The boys will all be playing on a football team together, and Lucy will be cheering for that football team. In the fall before, they were all in soccer. We dip our toes in homeschool groups here and there and have fun with that. Obviously, we've got all the stuff at church, and our church here has like Awana and Vacation Bible School and all of those types of things that we are involved with and doing. So there's a lot more outside of the home activity and commitments than there used to be, which is a perfect like this for that. I do a lot less deep cleaning. So in my video that I did recently that shared things I don't do anymore, I talked about how I don't do a 15-minute deep cleaning task during nap time anymore. I don't have any deep cleaning regularly scheduled in a monthly, like get this done. I just do things as I notice they need done. And I feel like I have the time to do them when it comes to deep cleaning. My house is just as tidy, but it certainly is not as detailed cleaned as it used to be. I have just let that go. And then more, this is a funny one, and I'm about to make a video, if the kids stay chill, after this one showing you this, but I definitely have more skincare stuff than I did before. And I don't know that my skin is any better. So I'll talk about that in this next video. But I have really enjoyed, maybe it's because I turned 35 this year, I don't know, but I have enjoyed just the feeling that putting on moisturizer at night and a night cream under my eyes and then doing something in the morning similar to that, just, it makes me feel good. It just makes me feel like I have thought about myself, and I hate the term self-care in some ways, but it just feels good in that way. So I definitely have more of those little potions, if you will, than I used to. And then the other thing I have less of, the last one, is shoes. I own 4 pairs of shoes now. I have 1 pair of heels, 1 pair of tennis shoes, 1 pair of sandals, and then what's the 4th pair? I guess I have a little pair of boots, maybe, for like winter time. I do have snow boots that are in our snow gear, so I guess that's 5 pairs of shoes. But I have 4 pairs of shoes in my actual closet now, and I definitely used to have more than that. I almost never wear my little heels that I have. Sometimes I wear them on Sunday, but I don't very often. I kind of stick to my barefoot sandals. Again, if you followed me on Instagram the last 5 years, I have gotten off into like a foot health kick, because I want to be able to run until I'm 80 and do half marathons and marathons and stuff like that every year. I got into really like, what are healthy shoes for your feet? So that has definitely led to the simplification of shoes for me, but I have 4 pairs of shoes, so definitely less than that. On the flip side though, I should say Lucy has a ton of shoes, so we still have quite a few shoes in our house. So that is my more and that is my less. If you have been a minimalist or living simply for many years, I would love to hear in the comments how your life has changed and where you've seen that some areas you have grown in and having more, and some areas you have scaled back. And I will catch y'all in my next video. Thanks, guys.